Now, to discuss this and so much more, I am joined by Outkick host Tomi Lahren. Tomi, thanks so much for joining us on the U.S. Report. What did you make of this Gadsden flag saga, and just how ignorant are teachers that they don't know anything about the revolution and think it wasn't about independence but slavery?
Yeah, this is what is very concerning here. I think it's quite obvious that these teachers, these staff members, they weren't worried about disrupting other students or causing a distraction or really offending any of this child's peers. They were offended because, as we know, that Don't Tread on Me Gadsden flag, that has become kind of like a rallying symbol for conservative and liberty-minded Americans who just want the government to leave us the heck alone. And these teachers know that, so they were trying to punish a conservative kid and his parents, really, and they wanted to send a message: don't bring your conservatism to the schoolhouse door. But what they weren't planning on is the backlash that the internet got them, and so of course they had to reverse course, saying that they support free speech. But had that not been captured and had it not gone viral, I think we can pretty safely bet they wouldn't have reversed course. They would have continued to bully this kid, and they would not let him wear that patch. This is going on in classrooms across America. This one just happened to be filmed.
Well, and I mean, I bet this is a bit sort of like the Bud Light case, where it's just one little incident that shows a much bigger problem in the culture. What, though, does it say about the schools that this teacher, she was so absolutely concrete in her opposition to this and was simply going to say, well, I don't care, I'm offended, and other people nameless above her might be offended, so therefore, you know, sorry, kid, you're out of luck. This huge double standard that's going on here in the schools.
Of course, a double standard. I have a feeling if this kid was wearing a Black Lives Matter patch or a, more money to Ukraine patch or any other liberal symbols out there, wearing, 2 or 3 masks perhaps and wanting to bring COVID back, I have a feeling that these staff members would be singing his praises. But this is about their internalized issues, their internalized liberal derangement syndrome that they have, and it's an ongoing problem for them. So they were trying to take it out on this kid, but this kid, I mean, he stood his ground. He's got some great parents. He wasn't going to back down. He wasn't going to cower in the corner. So that's what we need more of. This is not going to end until parents and also students realize that they have rights, that they have a voice, that their opinions and their convictions are just as important as their liberal counterparts. It's going to take that to reverse course on all of this and set this country on the right path, set the world on the right path. This isn't just happening in the United States of America. This is a global problem. So it's about time that the people start standing up and speaking their minds. The other side can do it, so why can't we?
Indeed, Tomi, and of course, you won't be surprised to hear that we have many of the same problems here in Australia. Now, let's move over to Hawaii, though, from Colorado, where Joe Biden is facing an awful lot of backlash for his response to those horrible, devastating wildfires after he offered victims a one-time payment of $700 per household in emergency aid. Wow, what does that say about the government's priorities here? These people have been treated horrendously.
Right, especially when we're sending $113 billion plus over to Ukraine. For those people, for those non-Americans, I think that this should infuriate not only the people of Maui, but the people of the United States of America, whose tax dollars are going to fund these things. And not only that, but his response to that whole disaster in Maui is very telling. I mean, first he had no comment on the death toll. Then he finally went, after he got off of his vacation, he went to that beach that had been burned. He prefers to lay on the beach in Delaware, in a beach that isn't on fire. But then he goes and he tries to relate to the victims of a wildfire by talking about a kitchen fire that he had in his home that by all reports was put out in 20 minutes. I mean, talk about tone deaf. And this president repeated it again this week, that same story. So apparently his advisors are not advising him correctly, or maybe he's unmanageable. I'm not sure. Either way, unacceptable.
Yeah, I love the idea of Joe Biden being ungovernable there. That's quite the image, isn't it?